This afternoon I learned that you have to say 1, 2, 3, go.
More than 50 years of award-winning photography.
Windsurfing is a sport.
It's very critical.
Accessible wherever you are. Selected by independent international juries. The World Press Photo Collection. Available to explore. To find connections. To share stories.
I made a picture, and in the moment, I thought, wow, something special happened here.
For me, a camera or the visual type of storytelling is a way to see people.
To inspire understanding.
Help me. That's what you get when you're nervous. You should always be a little bit nervous when you speak in front of a crowd of people that know what they're talking about. That's better. So, I'm Lars Boering. I'm a photoholic and been that for a long time. And I'm really proud to be here. It's a wonderful occasion to talk to you. I also very impressed about what I've seen here in the last couple of days. When I started in photography, you kind of hear about the Addy Adams workshop, and you don't realize what it is. So I might feel the same as you guys. You're smiling so bright that my nervousness is going away. You're enjoying yourself. I can see that. So. That's me in front of my house. So this is what Google does with you. I've been standing there for days and days and days. And finally, Josh Weaver showed up with his car and made a photo. It's kind of funny, huh? Some people get annoyed by it, but I loved it. I've been presenting talk shows and talking about photography. I love to do this. I think it's important. I think photographers deserve to be in front of a crowd. It's part of what you do these days. I think it's great to see that. If you see Craig Walker, I mean, the reason why I'm in photography is a guy like Craig Walker. When you sit here in this audience and you look at him, you're like, holy shit. You're amazing. That's an amazing story, and the way he told it was very genuine and powerful. So I applaud him for that. So visuals are important. You also need to have fun while you present it. I think that's also important. There's several words that I'd like to talk about tonight. It's the buzzwords of photography. And talent and creativity, perseverance, passion, career. I'm going to try to touch upon them tonight while I go through things. But let me start off by saying talent doesn't exist. So you're probably going to be like, I'm a talent, I'm selected, what the hell is this? There is no scientific evidence that talent exists. So there you go. There's also no scientific evidence it does exist. But for me, talent is not enough. If it exists, I'm not so interested in that. I think the reason they use it because there's not another word for it, but I believe in hard work and perseverance. If you don't work hard enough, you're never going to make it. Working hard. If talent doesn't work, working hard wins. So, thank you, Olivier Laurent. We should make fun of ourselves while we do this. My wife doesn't like it that much, but she's back in Amsterdam, so I'll deal with that when I'm back. This is a favorite photo of mine. I like it very much. Not for the photo, which is very crappy, but what's on it. If you take a close look, it's a photo of a rock painting, and it's a seal. It's 42,000 before Christ, and so you can see now why storytelling is in our DNA. So even while you were hunting bears, photo bears, and chasing your food, at night they spend time painting on the rocks. And we still do it. So photography is part of creative industries, and storytelling is an important word. And you have to study storytelling to understand what is going on. It's a wonderful thing. You know what this is? Okay, we move on. 1826. Joseph Niepce, the first photo. You know who this is? Come on. You know this. 1855, you should know this. He made this photo. So this is Roger Fenton. He's the first war photographer. The only thing we have to realize, he ended up being there when the battle had been done. But he was the founder of the Royal Photographic Society. He was a son of a banker. So if you have money, you're always good in photography. That's easy. But he was sent by Prince Albert to cover the war, the Crimean War. He went over there and he shot 315 glass plates. So he went with his chemical bomb, because that's what you did. You had chemicals with you, and you just go with your cart from London across the water to the Crimean Peninsula, and difficult. When he got back with his show, 350 plates, he had a big exhibition in London. Nobody was interested in it. So it happens to more people. Don't worry if they don't show up at your opening. It can happen to the best. But the reason why I show it is this photo. It's a very famous photo. It's shot at the Crimean War, and it's where they charged towards each other, and there was a barrage of bullets, these big balls here, cannonballs they call it. And so how do you show a battle that has taken place? Well, he did it in 1855, but it's also the first staged photo. Let's talk a little bit about staged photos. So this is another shot. Where are the cannonballs? So they still are here in this ditch, but they're certainly not on the road. So he and his assistant carried some cannonballs because it probably look better. Nobody really knows, but again, there's evidence. Let's speed a little bit up. This is the first photo of the moon was shot in 1839, and the first photo from the moon to us was in 1968. Who knows this guy? Nick Hutton needs to, you know him. Do you know who it is? Henri. Cartier-Bresson. Yeah, you're right. 1967, 76. Thank you. The teachers get taught by the students. He said, photography hasn't changed since its existence. A little bit in technical way, but that technical part is not so interested for me. So at that time it was 140 years old, and he said, it's not changing. So of course he was wrong, because this happened. Steven Sasson of Kodak. Who knows what Kodak is? They were the first one to make a digital camera. I have a World Press Photo calendar for 2017 with me for the young students. If you know what this is. Cassette? No, it's a memory card. It's the ones you use. It's a cassette. That was that's what they captured the photos, 1984. Let's speed up a little bit. This is the first mobile phone with the ability to shoot photos. 2001. It's not that far off, right? It's 2016, 15 years on. But you could do amazing stuff with it. For instance, if you're a guard in Abu Ghraib, you can shoot some fun stuff for your family or your friends. Make a little fun. But nobody realized, of course, that these photos would come out, which was an amazing thing, because suddenly we were able to look inside and see what certain people were doing. Some say this is the last iconic photo we've had. We don't see very iconic photos that much. We'll show several of them, but it's certainly not shot by a professional, but I think it's an amazing image. It's an important image. So when prison guards start shooting photos, what's your position? It's a tough job, right? How do you go about it? All that gear, carrying that around. I don't know if it's necessary, but doesn't want to miss a shot. I haven't seen you guys walking around like this in town. Maybe you should. So then people talk about how difficult it is and can we still make money? Well, when Angelina and Brad started casting new kids in Africa, then the magazines, People and Hello, they paid $14 million for this reportage, which is a lot of money. Try to get into touch with them. When they get together, ask them to shoot their marriage. But this is what we're up against, right? You've seen this. I don't know why people photograph paintings in museums, but they do. It got me to this. So everyone is a photographer, but no one is really good at it. So chew on that. Some of you might be really good at it. I sometimes make a very decent photo. Olivier Laurent is good at shooting portraits these days, especially selfies. But I think this is quite right. You know, lots of people shoot photos and everything. Everybody thinks it's easy, but it's not. But you have a very important button on your camera, which is this. We don't want all your photos. It's too much. We'll end up with this. That's Erik Kessel's in Foam Museum, Amsterdam. This is he printed out one day of photos on Flickr. That's amazing, right? And he put it in a show and everybody walked around. You could take one with you and you could look at it. And I mean, look what's on the photos. It's like Instagram on steroids. But so, again, you guys are up against it. So what's your approach, you know? Are you going to do this? Stand in line and take your picture here? Or are you going to grow and achieve something? Make up your own mind? I think lots of people have been taught the last couple of days. I heard some of the team leaders say, come on, man. Go for it. Do it. Take a shot. Don't wait. Don't hesitate. Your career has to start somewhere. And your career is certainly not something that you can plan. My career is completely unplanned. I never thought I would end up here. I do. I love it. I have a dream job. I always said that I would have one day I would do a dream job, be the managing director of World Press Photo. I'm really proud of it, and I achieved it. But nobody gave me anything, right? I never planned to go here. All I did was work pretty hard, start somewhere, and be nice to people. It helps. Sometimes you have to be tough. But who is this? The guy on the left. Very good. It's Richard Avedon with Gloria Emerson of the New York Times in Vietnam in the 60s. I don't think he ever went back. He started to shoot portraits and stuff, but I didn't know this when I looked it up. He had been in Vietnam, but nobody knows him as a photojournalist. He tried to do something else. Who's shooting weddings in this crowd? Don't be shy. I love wedding photography. You, sometimes. What is sometimes? When sometimes people get married. Who else? You shoot it. Raise your hand. You, please, come on. Who? Look, don't be shy. It's good stuff. You know, you have to be really good at shooting marriages. You have to be talking about creativity. This photographer made this crowd run towards us. It's very bad, pixelated photo. Somebody should work on it. But what he did is he put that dinosaur in the back, and it got him an amazing result. He just thought one day, let's just do something different. Got him on the show with Today Show, Good Morning America, Yahoo, Huffington Post, CNN, Fox News, of all places. You know, that's where Trump ends up. But he had more than 730,000 people seeing this photo on one day on Facebook. I said, I wish I could remember who was the first one to contact me, but the one I remember is Good Morning America. They were personable and wanted to get the story. All right. Planning a career is not possible. This is the winning photo of last year of Warren Richardson. He's from Australia, lived for a while in London, now lives in Budapest. He was a paparazzi. First time I heard that, I was kind of like, ooh. A paparazzi guy has won World Press Photo. But he won, and he's one of the 61 winning photographers, like Nick is one of them. You know, there's several winning photos in there. But let me tell you a story about Warren Richardson. It's quite funny, and I love Warren because he was there talking about real passion. So most of the time when people talk about passion, I always say passion is usually a quote by somebody else, right? I don't want to hear you talk about being passionate. If I work with you, I get passion for free, right? People without passion, I never work with people that don't have passion for what they do. So you have to be sure that what you want to do is important to you and you commit yourself to it. Warren showed up in my office. I called him, of course, and he got shocked. And he came in my office and I said, let's sit down. Do you have a website? Yeah, he had a website. Well, it was not the best website in the world. This photo wasn't certainly not on it. And so we looked at it and it was like, okay, we need to do some work on this. So we spent actually the night before the press conference working on it together with David Campbell. We spent at least till 3 in the morning, sounds a little bit familiar, looking at his portfolio, fixing his website. He had a contact form on his website, which is, who has a contact form on his website? Oh, come on, Jesus. You can't do this. You need to have your details on it. I want to call you, I want to send you an email. A contact form is hiding behind something that is completely unnecessary. So he did. We fixed it, changed his website, made it, drafted a nice bio, and went into the press conference. He was nervous. It's difficult for him to talk. He's getting better at it. And but then he's out there, and then his post on in the newspapers reached up to close to 1 billion views. So it's the best viewed photo of the last year. It's amazing, close to 1 billion views. Next morning he showed up in the office and he walked in our garden, and I told David Campbell, we need to do something because he's about to climb the fence and run off, because he came in with his iPad. He had a phone, it was really old, and an iPad, and he came in and he said, I have 1,000 emails. What do I do? So there were people that wanted to buy the print, they wanted to work with him, they wanted the whole series, they wanted to publish it. So we said, okay, this is also what World Press Photo is about. We got him connected to the Dutch agency Hollandse Hoogte. They started selling his work. They made a couple of €1,000 already for him, which is nice. We handled the print sales. I advised him on the print run and on the edition. It's doing well as well. Even the agency is selling some of his photos. But it showed that this guy, he did not send in his work to World Press Photo himself. His wife did. So she cried when I called him. So she said, this is an amazing shot and you should send it in. And he did. So he's kind of like, yeah, let's try. So again, planning your career, it's very difficult. Someday, if you participate, you suddenly end up winning World Press Photo. 100 shows in 52 countries. It's the biggest photo exhibition in the world. 4 million visitors worldwide. I'm happy that I don't have to go to all of these places. I can't, but I do as much as I can, because it's nice to listen into. So talking about, later on I'll talk a little bit about manipulation, ethics, staging, why you shouldn't do this. The biggest lesson learned from me, from the audience in the exhibition, is that one, they like to go there every year, so it's a tradition, returning visitors. But the most important thing is there's so much going on in photography. We can do a lot, I can do a lot, but what I see in the World Press Photo Exhibition, I can trust. And trust is a very important word. You need to be able to trust people to do what they want. There you go, 1955. It's a Danish photographer, Mogens von Haven, a guy falling off his motorcycle. It's the first winner. There's been another winning sports photo later on, but then after that, no sports photos have ever won again. But the beginning had some really amazing work. Although we make a big jump, 1975, Stanley Foreman, Boston Herald. A fire broke out, people jumping from the balcony. She didn't survive, the kid did. It's kind of interesting to go beyond this photo and see what happened. It's an amazing photo. I have to show this. It's the only Dutch winner ever. It's also the first color photo to win. And it's 1967. Thank you. Interesting. It's a tank commander looking through a visor in Vietnam. Lots of photos of the Vietnam War, of course. I think this one is interesting because it's the first photo about an issue. 1986. I'm getting better at it now. Ken Meeks, first time we saw AIDS popping up, and it's about the issues around AIDS. Aha. That's a familiar photo. It's the Addie Adams photo. We've been talking about it for a long time. People have showed it. It's an amazing photo. This one too. Had to do it. Amazing photo as well. But this one as well. The Tank Man. 1989. Charlie Cole. I don't know if you've ever seen it, but there's several photos of this scene by several photographers, which shows that they travel in groups. One of them was on a balcony here, the other one is up there. Some of them got their photos taken by the militaries. Some people hid it in the toilets, I think, and smuggled it out of the country, and it's an amazing shot. World Press Photo is about many things. The contest is at the bottom. It's a very important thing. But I like to talk about the World Press Photo Foundation. We do many things. We do research and analysis. We do education. We have a master class just like this. It's just 12 photographers, not 100. But it's been running for quite a while. We have exhibitions, the multimedia contest. We're about to change that. Who likes the word multimedia? Oh, you do? You? Who else? It's a strange name, right? We've been struggling with it for like 12 years. It's quite so. Our contest will be changed into digital storytelling contest. Don't tell anybody yet. My manager communications is now sitting at Facebook Live, kind of like, why is he telling this? But it's important. I think multimedia is digital storytelling. Photography is very much digital storytelling, and you should bring them together. Although people still like to shoot analog. Who shoots analog? Ooh, good luck. I like it, but it becomes difficult. Chemicals and stuff like that. So what do you do as an organization when this emoji was named Word of the Year? Everything is about images. It's a visual world. It's becoming more important than ever. So you guys are in the driver's seat, right? I'm very positive about what you guys are doing. Visual storytellers are more important than ever, right? Even though things are changing and the market is difficult and who makes money, who doesn't. I think it's great that visual storytelling is becoming more important. If people start to communicate with silly little things, then it's a visual world. But I also care a lot about what the French call la liberté de la presse, the freedom of press. Press freedom, freedom of speech, that is very much connected to World Press Photo. It's important. Journalism, the basic journalism, facts and figures, it's important. We need to trust information from all over the place. And unfortunately, the red side and the black color is, these are not the teams, right? It's not your teams. We miss Pinky, but let's be very serious about this. Everything that is black and red is in trouble. And it shouldn't be like that. And if it's orange, it's also in trouble. There's like the Netherlands, it's white, Scandinavia, but let's keep an eye on that. Let's be out there and fight for it. Things change, you become more digital, the World Press Photo needs to change. So, even though this is not the first ever winning photo at a contest, shot on a phone, or with Hipstamatic, of course, we had Michael Christopher Brown, we had Damon Winter. He did it, he said it's the eye, it's not the tool. But this is a photo shot by Malin Vezahai. It was one of the winners last year. It's amazing, and it's quite funny that you get a lot of photographers to sort of start talking about that sky, and it's not real, and it's not something, it's not the truth, but there's no such thing as truth in photography. But we can trust the image. We verified it, we checked it, it's okay. And we do more with Instagram. This is the exhibition we had with Everyday Africa at Look 3 in Charlottesville. It's the biggest exhibition space in town. But it was great. And I think it's important to show that World Press Photo is not about, we're in museums. Sometimes the Minister of Culture opens it up, sometimes a CEO, but I think it's important to also do this. But why do we commit ourselves to Everyday Africa? We value the voice of Africa a lot. We started a project which is called Visual Voice of Africa. We need to listen into what they tell us, not what we tell them. I mean, it's easy for us to go over there and tell the story, bring it back, and so this is it. But what is the African voice? I think it's important. Look at the feed of Everyday Africa, right? We spend a lot of time looking at very important issues here throughout the last couple of days. Lots of things about war. But you can also see the image of Africa is very often dramatic, conflict. But if you look at that feed, you can also see somebody at the beach having a fun day with the kids, a lawyer in a taxi on the way to her work. And you see some of these little images up there. Go check it out. It's very important. What's this? Analog towards digital. It's completely digital. Red is digital. Blue is prints. So you can see in the beginning we had slides, prints, still in 86. And it's changing in 98. But everything we do now is digital. And of course that gets you into trouble. Because with digital you can do a lot. So I'm going to show some examples this evening about real manipulated photos. Some things have been disqualified. It's on Facebook Live, so we have to deal with it. The things that you see have been open already, so it's not that I'm trying to show some new stuff or that we expose people. Some have chosen to do it themselves, and I'm trying to explain a little bit what it is about. But one of the first things that happened was this photo. It's a World Press photo in 2010. It was disqualified, and this was the original photo. It's okay. You can crop. It's okay. You can turn it into black and white. That's okay. What you can't do is, and so pay attention. This is what, especially, so this little area here. This is what happened. Oh, somebody lost his foot. Now you could say, what's the big deal? Right? Who thinks this is a big deal? Come on. You think it's a big deal? Yeah, I do so too. Because now it's just a foot, but what if it's something else? What if it's an important war photo that is about an important issue? But okay, it happens, got disqualified, and sure. This is the most researched photo in the world, I guess. Paul Hansen. He's a winner. The photo is fine, it's not manipulated. But it's a matter of taste. Lots of people think there's something with the colors. Is it natural? Is it not natural? I mean, it's been checked by the technicians. The jury thought it was fine. It has been awarded some other places, but it caused a huge debate. Just as this one. It's a photo by Paolo Pellegrini, and the caption, it's about Rochester, New York, but the caption talked about this guy as if he would live there, and but it turned out to be somebody helping him out, and the caption didn't check out. It was a mistake. Wrong caption. People said it was staged. Some people said it was not staged. At the end, he kept his award. But it's still an issue that we have to talk about. People always come up with Pellegrini. The first contest that I was in charge, we had to disqualify photographer Giovanni Troio. And the first thing people said, why did he get disqualified and Pellegrini not? I think we should really leave this behind us. I've been talking to Paolo about this recently. We will continue to talk about it because it's no use of keeping this topic so high on the list and try to chase him out because we need to move on. Things change. We can't change it anymore. I do get letters. Ever since I took on the office, people send me letters that I have to disqualify photos in the 70s and in the 80s. And so I always answer, I'm not in the business of judging all the former contests. I'm judging the next one. We apply the rules that we have now. So please leave it alone and let's just work towards the future. If you like cat photos, I mean, we've seen things by Google that are amazing. Stuff like this. You can turn a cat photo into a Van Gogh painting. It's doable. But it's the reason why we made this report, the integrity of the image. And it shows, you can download this on our website still. It's still very strong report. And it talks about that we should stop talking about photography in analog terms, right? Dodging and burning. Maybe these buttons on the computer still, I'm not sure. I don't know how to Photoshop. I don't know anything about Lightroom. But it has changed. It's zeros and ones. Digital is different than analog. It's just the way it is. So if you read this, then you can see you move beyond. It also got us to have certain rules in the contest, which are very debatable, he says with a big smile. And it should be debatable because this is not this is changing a lot. Digital is changing a lot. So if we keep the rules as they are, we get to another standstill. We need to move forward constantly. But we do choose to select photos that are one shot, one take. So wonderful work by Eric Bouffet. He's with 7. I love it, but it's multiple exposures. There's some people that love multiple exposures or layered photos. I love it too. But the decision now has been made not to accept that in the contest. But it's part of the press. It's part of magazines. They show it. Are there any editors that show this kind of work? Usually they're in the back.
What if it's done in camera?
Can you do this in camera?
Yeah.
Have my technicians take a look at it. No, of course, there's now camera. So recently we got updated about a camera brand that is our main sponsor. I'm not supposed to mention it because Nikon is sponsoring this operation. But you can shift focus, dual pixel RAW. You can change between the eye and the tip of your nose. So we have to look into that. Is it part of it? One solution is for us to launch a new contest next year. That is news. Which will be more open. So we have a journalistic one shot, one frame. But there's lots of great work out there that also need to be rewarded. That is also part of the press of magazines that is being published. So we will move into a contest that has the ability to send in this work, which will be completely in a different time of the year. We'll judge the World Press photos still in January and February, but this one will be judged in October. And it's an open contest to reward work like this. Nick Nichols. It's an amazing photo. It's a combination of 84 frames. It's one of the biggest trees in the world, I think. National Geographic. Look at these guys here. It's great. You can buy a print in New York. It's $20,000. It's not too bad. Look at it, man. It's amazing work. So that's work that is out there in a magazine. National Geographic is publishing this kind of work. So who are we as World Press Photo not to celebrate this work? So we need to find a place for that. So I told my team, let's think about this. Let's move on. Let's do another contest in October. Let's celebrate this work. Let's reward it because I think it's important. It's great work. All right, let's show some examples of clear manipulation. These are made up examples unless I tell you otherwise, but it's a fun game. Look carefully, what's about to change. Oops, what happened? Did you see it? The skin? Look at the freckles. There's one here and here and here. It's gone. Or this one. Oops. It's the cigarette butt. There it is. It's gone. Or stuff like this. No more wire. But then there's another problem. We can fix that. So you might think it's funny, and it is funny. And some people told us, come on guys, these are silly examples. We should not take this seriously. But we had to make them because we're not in the business of ruining careers of photographers. So we made up these examples because we can't show the real stuff. We don't want to. Sometimes it's silly mistakes. Really silly little mistakes. But then this last contest, suddenly we had people doing things that were exactly stuff like this. For instance, this you can crop It's okay. But you better crop a little bit better because you can't make that little pole disappear. See it? But we saw stuff like this. So people can't control themselves to clean up that image. And there are several jury members in this audience. The secretary of the jury is David Griffin. You can talk with him about it. He will never explain he will not mention names, but he can back this up. Silly stuff. You wouldn't believe that people do stuff like this. Right? Why would you bulk up an arm? It's pretty ridiculous, right? But it happened. It doesn't make the butterfly fly away. But okay, some real examples. This one is a very famous one. It's I don't have this shot where it's the circle. It's a camera, and he made it disappear. And he regretted that, so he came back and opened up about it. He went to AP and said, look, I made a mistake, shouldn't have done it. And so they said, okay, we understand, but they fired him, right? That's the rules. You can't make this stuff happen, and so he's out. So recently he got awarded a nice grant, and somehow it feels like he gets back into it. Why can't we just have him and have another go at it? I mean, we should be lenient about that, I think, but we should also realize that we should not accept this. We can't accept this. It's not real. That camera was there, so you shouldn't have taken it out. Or this one. Terrible? Cloning, yeah. Huh?
It's not even a good cloning.
Not a good cloning job. Tell that to the wife of Trump. But you can do stuff like this. You know, this is okay. It's one of our examples. You can turn it into black and white, no problem, right? I ask a lot of people tonight when you get your portfolio reviewed by me. I will ask the question. Why black and white? You have to have a reason for it, to me. Sometimes you have good reasons for it. Sometimes people just like the work of Nancy Borovnik. I like the work of Nancy a lot, but to me it's not enough to sort of say, I like it so much that I will also shoot in black and white. This is where it becomes difficult. This is a color photo, the famous sheep example. Can turn it into black and white. Work a little bit on it. Do you like this toning job? Yeah, you're okay with it. Do you like it still? No? Do you think it's acceptable? Maybe? You like this? Or this one? Way too much. We showed it to the whole industry in the world, and some places in the world said, this is okay to me, and they didn't like this. Some even said they didn't like this, but so that's become very difficult. So there is no clear rules on this, except that we ask the jury to judge it. And they, most often at this stage, already say this is not acceptable. It's too much. This is way too much, and in this, for instance, the whole window disappears. Suddenly the sheep are in the dark. I'm going to show you a real example of one photo that was ineligible for the finals last year. Why I can show it? Because Frederik Buijks, he's a Belgian photographer, he published it in a newspaper in Belgium, and he explained that he didn't agree with that. So again, it's not World Press Photo making, the foundation is not making these decisions, it's the jury. But if you look at the photo that this was the original one. And you can crop it, you can see it's cropping it, but the jury had issues with the darkened. They said it makes the photo quite dramatic. But is it really dramatic? I mean, this is a matter of taste. Taste is a very difficult subject, but it gets very dramatic, but there's also other people sitting in the back. I mean, I don't know. I don't have the answer, but What do you guys think? Anybody against this? You can speak up now. All right. I'm going to speed up a little because I'm running out of time, and although it's fascinating. This is an example of a guy who arranged a shot. This was in Belgium after the explosions, and this was in the area, and he made her move stuff. Can you pick up this? And then it becomes very difficult. First the guy calls himself a photojournalist, then he calls himself a photographer, and he gets an award in the IPA Awards, wins $15,000. Then he is a photojournalist. Here he's not. So people should be open about what they are. What do you do? Who are you? Be clear about it. We can verify a lot of things. This is one of the winning photos. We can verify it because she's down there, behind the fence. This is another shot. It's clear. We like strange things like Michael Wolff. And we award also photos not shot by professionals. This is the Man on the Moon, special mention in 1969. I'm going to speed up. This is an important issue. Gender. The amount of participating photographers is, the blue is male, green is female, and I think it's wrong. I want more women to participate in our contest. And I don't know how much the divide is here, but usually it's 50-50, but it doesn't show in our contest. So we're working hard now to change that. So please send it in, be part of the contest. It's very male-dominated. It shouldn't be like that. Because we had winners in the past, a lot of them. I'm going to finish off with technology that we like. This is something we're going to present next Friday again in New York. It's the Four Corners project by Fred Ritchen. And it's using digital photography in many other ways. We know this photo. Every corner of this photo has a certain place. I'm Eddie Adams. It's a made-up example, of course. Eddie Adams photo. I apply the code of ethics of AP, so we know it's okay. He tells me where it is. That corner gives us the backstory, context of the image. There's videos. There's an interview with a cameraman that shot it. And you can put it to use to many ways. I wish Steve McCurry would use it. See the kid disappear in the back on this one here, but also the arm there. So people ask me a lot, what do you think about Steve McCurry? I don't have any issues with Steve McCurry, right? But if he would use the four corners and he would use this corner, I'd say, I'm Steve McCurry, I don't apply any code of ethics, and I'm an artist. Fine with me, Steve, but don't call yourself a photojournalist. Not with this image. Go check it out. It's on demo Four Corners IO. Okay. What about this? In the last 5 years, more technology has been developed than the last 50 years. But what if we say, and looking at Josh Weaver's presentation, you might wake up tomorrow morning and lots of things have been discovered at the Google Labs. What do we do with this? You guys have a daunting task to keep up with this. Everybody has. Wilper's Photo has. Because, how do you work with talent, creativity, perseverance, passion? What do you do with your career? I guess all you have to do is jump. Thank you very much.
Okay, questions from the audience? Okay.
It's been very clear.
There's one right there on the right.
You can remove it. It's okay. It's in the rules. You can. If you have dust on your, it's okay. We can see it. Our technicians can see everything, but you can remove it. Yeah. But it's also better if you're a professional to get your lens cleaned and also your sensor cleaned.
Okay, I saw one other hand, very quickly, in the back.
I think you should hold yourself accountable. You should not rely on your colleagues to do that. If you are not to be trusted and we find out, then who wants to work with you? So I think it's up to the photographers to take a position and to be clear and to be fair about that. So yeah, you're on your own, but that's okay, because we've seen so many photographers in the last couple of days that we can trust and that do remarkable, important work. So yeah, it's up to you.
Thank you very much. Big hand for Lars. That is an extremely important thing that I'm glad that Lars touched on, and it's just something that, ending with that last question, it's something that if you have to ask yourself about that, then there's something definitely wrong. Just don't do it. It's very simple. You take a picture, don't mess with it. The old convention about being able to do what you could do in a dark room, the traditional, conventional darkroom techniques is what's supposed to apply now. Well, you have to be careful with that as well. And the other point that Lars made, which I think is extremely important, is that we can't judge stuff now and use those same judging qualities back in the old days. If you look at some of the pictures that were actually printed and dodged and burned, they would never stand up to today's standards. But we can't hold those pictures accountable by today's standards. We have to hold today's pictures accountable by today's standards, because so much is changing. But be true to yourself, and you'll never have to ask yourself that question. Okay, our last speaker for the evening is extremely near and dear to me. For a variety of reasons. When I worked at the Wires, when I went off to Newsweek magazine, I'm talking about one of my careers. I kind of feel like I've had several lives, but I've been blessed. As a photo editor, we're treasure hunters. We, in the old days, used to dig through the slides on the box and the light box and hope that one of them would come out and jump and say, "Pick me." And now we have literally hundreds of thousands of images that we have to look